Welcome back to the Fitness, Wellness, and Longevity Podcast. In today's episode, I have a very special guest, Manny Alayon. Manny is a 9-year affiliate owner of Northeast CrossFit. He's coached various high-level athletes in the CrossFit Games, weightlifting nationals, and in wrestling. Aside from the usual cocktail of CrossFit certifications, he has certifications with OPEX and O23 holistic coaching. He now spends most of his time running his 2 affiliates, being a father of 2 young girls, and playing fetch with his fluffy dog. Manny and I cover a wide range of topics, from how he got started with CrossFit, who Manny's mentors are and what they taught him, managing his business during the pandemic, and so much more. If you like today's podcast, please subscribe, rate, review, share with your friends. Please enjoy this episode of the Fitness, Wellness, and Longevity Podcast with Manny Alayon.
The other day, because I'm on a podcast hiatus, because I've been listening to so much shit that it's clouding my brain, it's clouding my judgment, and you're almost becoming like paralyzed, because you're like, oh, well, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? So you know what? Enough with everything. But I was like, oh, let me see what Sean's podcast is all about. So I actually listened to the one where you were talking to the guy about the glucose levels.
Oh, all right.
And I had noticed something really interesting, because I snack at night a lot. You know, which is like a shit habit, but I don't eat it all during the day. And then at night is when I consume most of my stuff. But I noticed that as I eat later into the night, not that I get bad sleep, but like, I wake up a little groggy and I never remember my dreams, which is like kind of weird for me, because I normally always remember my dreams. So I noticed, I've been telling myself, all right, stop eating at night. And boom, I've been remembering my dreams and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then I listened to your podcast, and you had kind of talked about those themes, and I was like, oh shit, probably because I'm eating pretty close to bedtime.
It's pretty funny how like you'll coincidentally do something, and then like the universe will just project it right at you, be like, hey, if you didn't realize this before, here's a smack in the face to let you know that this is real.
yeah, it was definitely pretty cool.
Well, Manny, I figure we would, go back and forth a little bit of the of how we know each other, how long we've known each other. I think that's important. Obviously, I do a little intro prior to us starting this conversation. So, Manny, can you describe for everybody what it is that you do? And I know you own a couple 2 CrossFits now. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can you just give me a little bit of an elevator, who you are, what you're about, that kind of thing?
Yeah, totally. So, my name is Manny Alayon. I'm a CrossFit gym owner. I own 2 CrossFit gyms, both of them under the name Northeast CrossFit. I've been a affiliate owner for 9 years, a CrossFitter myself for 14 years, and a health and fitness nut since I was a kid. For as long as I can remember. Probably started back in wrestling with all the weight cutting, and it's kind of morphed into what it is today. Nowadays, aside from CrossFit, I'm really into lifestyle coaching. To me, it was a very natural evolution to what I like to call professional coaching, which is, I guess, a loose term that a lot of people throw around nowadays. But to me, it was a very natural evolution. So, that's what we incorporate into my CrossFit gyms now. We operate things quite a bit differently than your average affiliate, but I'll save that for another discussion. And I don't know if we'll talk about it later, but that's...
I'm going to pick your brain about that all day there, Manny. So a couple little follow-up questions here. So you've been CrossFit for 14 years. How did you first get into it?
Yeah.
And in the beginning, did you even know you were CrossFitting?
I did. So going into my sophomore year of college, I was working for a guy who he did wood floors, and my high school wrestling coach, Coach Martin, actually got me the job with this guy who had a wood floor business. And we would roll up to this site, and this was summertime, so I'm just earning some cash before I go back to school. I'd roll up at like 6 a.m. and the owner would be just like in his garage, like doing some shit. And I'm like, what is this nutcase doing? He would come out sweating, and then we would go off on a job, and he wouldn't shut up about this CrossFit thing. CrossFit. And this is, I'm going to sophomore year of college. So we're talking like 2007.
Yep.
2006, 2007, something like that. So CrossFit was like, no one really knew what it was. So he keeps talking about it. And I'm like, a 19-year-old like meathead who's wrestling in college. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, and I decided to try it one day in like the off season, after the wrestling season. I just tried to work out. I forget what it was, but it wasn't anything that, I went on CrossFit.com, tried it out with one of my buddies, and it just blew me away. I was the when you like look at the workout on paper, you're like, oh, this is going to be easy. I'm going to smoke it. It smokes you. You become fascinated with the intensity portion of it. And, coming from the wrestling background, you become addicted to that, like weird intensity. Right. So yeah, that's kind of where it started. And then it all really kicked off from
off from there. So let me ask you this. How did the CrossFit, so you were, by the way, where did you go to school?
I went to SUNY Cortland.
You did. Okay. That's what I figured. So obviously you knew, Mike, Mike Kukalo obviously was probably there.
Yeah.
As well.
Mike lived right next to me.
Okay.
For the time he was there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think his wrestling days were behind him by the time he got to school. He was like, I'm done with this. So
what a talent to be.
Unbelievable. I mean, we can definitely go down memory road if you want, but I know that, Mike was probably one of the most talented wrestlers aside from Steven Rodriguez and then some of the other grippies and that kind of stuff to come out of Fox Lane High School. And fortunately enough, Joe Amuso and Anthony Rodriguez have just been amazing with that program. And I know North Rock's program. And now North Rock's program is, every time I saw somebody in a North Rock singlet, I go, oh man, this is just going to be a pain in my ass.
You know what? Till this day, we both graduated over 15 years ago, and until this day, they're the two top programs.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool sitting where we are now and realizing, like, obviously we're a part of it, but I think, even just saying it now is our mentality then probably isn't that far off of where we are now, which is why we are where we are now in terms of like striving for excellence, helping other people, paying it forward. And I think that's almost something that you'd have to have in order for you to have a successful wrestling program.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think wrestling is the reason why I do what I do. I don't think if I was in any different environment, I wouldn't be here. It's all luck.
For sure. So how did CrossFit, when you were in school, integrate with wrestling? Did you find that it augmented, supplemented? Did you find that like maybe your interest started going more toward CrossFit than it was wrestling?
At that time, it did. Wrestling for me in college, it just at the end of high school didn't hit my goals, and I never really bounced back, to be honest, man. I thought for sure I was going to place at the States. I was close, no cigar, and I never recovered. Mentally, I never bounced back from it. Being in a new environment, I think from a maturity standpoint, I wasn't there. From physical maturity standpoint, I wasn't there either. And then, there was only like the love of hard work that still was in me. So when I found CrossFit, it was like, not wrestling, but it's something that's giving me that same high. Because it was really just like it's like a fucking drug, man. So it was that. And I felt that it definitely helped my wrestling, because even after college, I wrestled some more. What I did, Empire Trials when it was
Kept
still
chasing
around.
the dream, huh?
Yeah, man, dude, I love the sport. And then I coached, and I felt like, man, where was CrossFit this whole time? And even now, I still roll. I love the sport. Yeah, I actually have mats in my basement. Dude, I love the sport, and I always talk shit to the younger kids because I still think I could whip their ass, and I still do.
What's funny is like, you remember when you were in the room in high school and that old guy would come in and just like toss everybody, be like, who is this guy? You're that guy now.
I'm that guy. Totally, man. But it's fun. And what's cool about it now is when I first started CrossFit and then I would transition back to wrestling, there were elements that like I still wasn't in wrestling shape. So like there were elements of CrossFit that didn't translate But now having done both so much, I can actually tailor my CrossFit to get me better at wrestling. Because now I do a little bit of jujitsu, and now I notice like, man, like my grip strength is not where it needs to be for grappling. So now I'm doing way more farmers holds and all these other uh, gosh damn ISO. I can't think of the term, whatever.
Yep.
But I'm doing a
Yeah,
lot.
isometric holds and that kind of
Isometric, there we
stuff.
go. Doing a lot more isometric holds, and it's still CrossFit. You know, I'm just kind of like tweaking things so it fits. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot of fun.
So, couple things there. In the beginning, obviously, you had your mentality of what you thought CrossFit was. Now you're 14 years down the road. What is your definition of what CrossFit is?
I mean, it's
And
fitness.
by the way, let me context it. CrossFit as a fitness methodology, not necessarily as a business.
It's just fitness for life. It should be getting you better at the things that you love. So, you know, I don't like looking at it as the sport of fitness. It's not being the best at exercising. You know, it's about using it to enhance what you already love doing. So if you're someone who's really career oriented, you supplement CrossFit so you could be sharper in the workplace. If you want to hang out with your kids and be active, then that's how CrossFit should be serving you. You know, CrossFit shouldn't be something that like, and it could be, you know, it could be something that like you want to be the best person in muscle ups and throw a barbell over your head. That's all fine and dandy. But I think for the average person, and for me, it's just a life enhancer. And that's really it.
I love that. And I really never thought of it that way. And I think when you put it in that context, it makes a lot of the things that you're doing make a lot more sense, right? Fitness for life. I love that. Where do you think you came up with that?
I think just maturing over the years, over, you know, because we all go through these cycles when you first find CrossFit and then you find the sport of it, you know, and you're a relatively athletic and fit person, like you want to be that, man. You want to be like the next Rich Froning. You want to make it to regionals. You have all these goals. And then like time goes on and you go through your cycle of injuries. And then when you're in the position of like authority and you're in charge of other people, you realize that shit's not right, man. Like you're not doing the right thing by the people that you're supposed to be servicing, because that's not the majority of your clientele. And of course, there are some people that are like, I train some really high level athletes. Hopefully, I'll be coaching at the games again this year. But that's not the majority of my clientele. You know, they're regular people, and they don't need to be coached like they're going to the games, because it's not the right thing. And I think with enough experience, you find out the hard way, unfortunately, through yourself and also injuring some of your clients with, it's really your negligence, you know, it's what it
Well,
feels like.
some of them had it coming, okay, Manny, you know.
Oh yeah, some of them have it coming. They don't want to listen. So
I know, right? And you know what? That's their journey. They got to learn their lesson in some form or way, or and sometimes it's more extreme than others. Now, something that came to mind as you were just kind of talking about that was, you know, how do you balance the competitive side of CrossFit? Because obviously you've been affiliate owner for 9 years now, and I think since you've been doing it, there was the Open has been there almost the entire time.
entire time.
So how do you balance the competitive atmosphere of CrossFit with what really brings home the bacon, which is the ham and eggers who are there for fitness for life?
Yeah. So I mean, it really all comes down to gym culture. You know, a lot of people throw around the word community. Community doesn't mean shit, man. It's a word that we all fucking throw. Sorry, I curse a lot, man. So
I'm from New York, you know me.
but you know, it's, you have to have a good gym culture, and it starts with me and my team. You know, if we all look at fitness for life, it just so happens that the people coming in, they look for fitness for life. But I think through like reputable coaching and through knowledge, you also do attract your people that want to do fitness as a sport. But we really kind of like, one, we don't get a lot of them. Like the majority of people that come in, it's just not what they want. But when they do come in, they end up doing individual design. That's really what we end up talking them into. We do have a tiered program design inside of our group classes. You know, we have sport, fitness, and foundation. So it's essentially like 3 different levels of CrossFit. And we point our clients in the direction that fits their goals. Most people will self-select. People who want to do fitness and don't care about the sport, almost never do the sport variation of the programming. I mean, it really just self-selects, so we don't really have to do anything. And I think with our culture, people understand that they're not trying to be the best at exercising. And the people who are, we always give them that fair warning. That's the price you pay for admission. We know that you have these limitations, but if you're choosing to do it because you want to go compete, we'll support you and we're going to direct you as best as we can. But we do expect that you're going to listen to us when we think it's time for you to pull back. Which, like I said, it self-selects and it works out well. We haven't really had any issues with it.
So it sounds like you really do meet somebody where they're at. You know what I mean? You're not necessarily trying to, convince them one way or the other not to do it. You're going to meet them where they're at, but you're also going to say, hey, if this is what you're going to do, this is the price of admission.
Yes. I think as a coach, it's not our jobs, at least in my opinion, it's not our jobs to change their goals. We may not agree with their goals, but it has to have like a filter. So my filter is this realistic? Yes or no? Is it safe for this person? Yes or no? And safety, you kind of like play around with that line of like, what does safety really mean? If someone with like herniated discs is like, I don't care, I want to go to the games, I'm going to say, no, you're not. Are you pain free yet? And if they want to fight me on it, then I have no trouble firing a client, like zero. I don't really care, because it's not what we do.
Hold on, let me pause you there. Can you remember the first time you fired a client? Have you fired a client?
Yes.
Can you remember the first time and like how
Yes.
did that go? Because that for me personally, and I know probably a lot of people listening here, is one of the biggest obstacles that they have is that they are afraid to have hard conversations and potentially lose a client because of all the other things that go in line with that. Can you maybe share a little insight into how that went?
Yeah. So my first experience.
I want their name too.
I can't give you their name, and I can't give you their name.
I'm kidding.
But yeah, this individual, had for whatever reason, he had a problem with one of our coaches. We've had individual conversations with both the coach and that client for them to work things out. And long story short, this client, while the coach was teaching the class, this client walked by and was flipping my coach the bird as he was coaching. None of the clients really saw, but my coach kind of saw it. He was like, yo, I'm pretty sure this guy just flipped me the bird in front of my class. We went back to the camera, and you bet, walked by, like literally walking by, like, fuck you, dude. I don't respect you. So I went back to the camera, saw it, pulled the client outside. I said, I just looked at, first I asked him, I said, did you walk by and give coach the middle finger as he was coaching?
So you at least give him the benefit of the doubt. Hey, like, what's going on?
Well, yeah. I mean, I already knew the answer.
I know you're probably a little fired up. I know I would be.
Yeah, I was like, did you? And he was like, no, denied it. And I said, I saw you on camera. Like, I saw that you did it. And that's unacceptable. Please take your things. You're no longer welcome here. And he said, let me see the video. He didn't deny it. He said, let me see the video. So when someone's not denying it at that point, let me see the video. It's like, oh, you want to see the video so you can tell me that you were scratching your face? Yeah. Fuck out of here, dude. So yeah, that's the first time it happened, and he continued to deny it, probably denies it till the actually no, he would probably admit it now if I called him out on it. He'd probably be like, yeah.
So was this person a group client, individualized client? Was that?
He was my individual client.
Okay. All right. So in learning from that experience, what did you learn from that experience? What did you take away from that experience? Because obviously this is probably the straw that broke the camel's back. I imagine you're probably thinking
lots of red flags.
Two or three steps ago, this could have been done with. What did you learn from that experience?
That when you have someone who you think is not a good fit as a client, don't welcome them into your community. I mean, it's your intuition, your gut instinct was this isn't gonna work. Yeah. I mean, I think you have to have some sort of like client screening process that
Okay.
has to happen.
And did
Uh,
you have that in place when you first got this client in, or was it like, he makes it pass?
yeah, it was one of those things where like, we just had the big net and we had a goal of 400 members and we're like,
Yep.
fuck it, man, we're going to take everybody,
Oh yeah.
and then over time you realize that not everyone is a fit for your business. And even when times are tough, um, it's short-term pain for long-term gain. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned over the past 9 years is that nothing in short term is worth it. And you have to just stick to long game, even if it stings a little bit, even if you got to pull the Band-Aid with some coaches that don't fit your vision, all those things, man. They're so important and you just got to do them.
Now, I've had conversations with people before about this, but I'd love to get your insight on it. It's easy when someone flips you the bird and you say, get out of here. Like, that's an easy scenario in my
Yeah.
mind because they've made their decision for you. And the fact that, like, that's unacceptable behavior pretty much universally. But whether it's coaches or clients, I've always had a hard time with there really isn't anything very explicit that says no, like, they didn't flip me the bird, but it's like there's something there. Do I keep giving this person another chance, another chance, another chance? Have you had that experience? And if you have, like, what can you share with us from that?
Yeah. So with all those things, you have to take them like with a case by case. And a really good starting point, if you don't already have this, you should have your mission, your vision, and your values written down in like an employee handbook,
Mm,
right? Because that's going to be your go-to anytime you are in a really difficult situation. You may have to look back at your mission, your vision, and your values and say, does this person fit? If the answer is no, then you know what you got to do. But at the
yeah.
same time, this person has got to be like doing things that kind of warrant it. You can't go out of the blue and be like, hey, Sally, I decided today you don't make the fucking cut, you're out. Because then it's messed up.
It makes for a good
But if
story.
you have, but if you have like, let's say like, I think the most common thing I think a gym owner might experience is like a complainer,
Mm,
like someone who just is complaining about the gym not being clean or like complaining about the workout, you know, or doesn't listen to the coaching and
yeah.
complains, this person doesn't fit is that the person you want to fucking work for? No,
Mm,
it's an easy conversation. Like you explain to them what your expectations of them
hmm
as a client are. And if they're like, no, then it's like, all right, sweet. Well, I think we're better off just going our separate ways. Best of luck. I could recommend some places for you.
mm.
Things could always end amicably, and there's no need to burn bridges. But you know, you got to make those calls, and they're hard. I mean, everyone has them. I'm sure I still do. But the more you put your foot down and enforce your rules, the more they naturally weed themselves out. The
Mm,
pandemic showed this. It showed us that
yeah.
like these people, they get weeded out. The more we have um, more clear rules, the more they weed out. And pricing
So,
helps.
yeah, for sure. So you opened up a can of worms there, and obviously this conversation was eventually going to head to this because obviously you guys are in a very unique situation. You have two gyms. You're in New York. Uh, I mean, it's been locked down, like you know, Rikers there for
Fucking
quite some
chaos.
time.
Not as bad as
So
California, but
yeah, for sure. So again, I'm a bit privileged. I'm down here in South Florida, and
so
I
much
think it was
privilege.
like a 2 week lockdown. And then we're like, yeah, do whatever you want.
The Santa's like, fuck, what are we doing?
So first off, just give me like a brief kind of snapshot of what this last year has looked like for you. Let's starting off like at the beginning of the year of 2020, because obviously you have two gyms. You already threw out a number 400 members and that kind of stuff. I've seen you guys on not only .com, but like in the like you guys are almost quote unquote the poster child for success of CrossFit. I know you for many, many, many years. As a matter of fact, if I, not to get too far of a tangent, I remember you, myself, and old Chris Guerrero down in his gym when it was still just an
Yeah,
office space.
dude, I was just
Okay.
talking this morning.
So that was the beginning of the journey. Obviously, you've built this thing to one of the most successful, if not the most successful brand within that New York area. And now 2020 hits. All of a sudden, where are you at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, well, thank you for the kind words, man. Very flattering.
I
Yeah,
know that's very easy for you to receive. Trust me. I'm terrible at taking compliments too.
um, 2020 started off really well. I mean, it's one of those things where you don't know your flaws until shit hits the fan, you know?
Mm.
So we started 2020 strong. We were crushing goals. As my general manager Cameron would say, we were snapping necks and crashing checks or something like that.
Snapping necks, cashing checks.
Yeah,
Sounds like
yes.
my kind of cat.
So we were, from like a financial standpoint, really profitable. I mean, we're doing real well. You know, I have a lot of full-time employees, we had a lot of members. The gym morale was high. My new gym that I'm at right now, it was finally growing, which was tough. You know, it had its own obstacles, a lot of speed bumps and a lot of setbacks that we were recovering from. So things were going in a direction where we were going to have a 7-figure business by the end of 2020. The numbers were lining up to be on pace for 7-figure business. Pandemic hits. My gym and I meet up. We did not think that it was going to be the way it was, but we had multiple contingency plans. So we had met up a few days before we shut down. And we mapped out, if we close for 2 weeks, what does it look like? If you close from 2 to like 2 months, what does it look like? And then 2 months beyond, what does it look like? So we actually literally had plans, at least skeleton plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing goes down. We think it's a 2-week thing. We were wrong.
So when did you guys officially shut down?
March 16th.
March 16th, the governor puts the order in, all gyms closed.
Yeah.
What does that feel like for you?
At first we didn't I'm not a panicky guy, like, at all. I'm very I don't believe in problems. I only believe in solutions. So I don't freak out over things. I'm very like, I just deal with it, man. It's like, all right.
You're very accepting of what it is.
Yeah, because you can't do anything about what is. You can only control what you can control. And
where does that come from for you?
My coach, man, Coach Martin and North Rockland Wrestling. That's really it. You know, especially my coach, man. I owe so much to that man. He was more than a coach to me. He was my mentor, and we still talk to this day. So Coach Martin, shout out. Great guy.
That's
man.
awesome. So you're saying that basically the trials and tribulations and the growth that you had to have from wrestling set you up for a March 16, 2020 throwdown where everybody's hair goes on fire and you're like the calm in the storm.
Yeah. You know, I've taken on that calm demeanor, you know, because of the sport, my coach, and just a lot of life experiences and maturing and just seeing, you know, I'm like a people watcher and I'm a big like observer in general. Mm-hmm. So you can just see when people freak out, nothing good happens. Mm-hmm. Nothing good happens when people freak out. So, and I'm in charge of 10 employees, 400 plus members. So like, I can't freak out, man. I have to find a way to like keep calm and keep cool and just think it through and just keep charging forward.
Okay, so what was the pivot? So March 16 comes, you go, okay, we're going to be locked down. It's indefinite. It looks like this is, you know, going to be a serious thing. What do you guys do to pivot?
So the first 2 weeks, we didn't really do that much. I mean, my memory is a little bit shoddy, so I could be a little off.
You blocked out, you blocked out the trauma.
Yeah. Oh, dude, so much email PTSD. That's a real fucking thing, dude. I like literally don't look at it anymore. Oh
yeah. So you talk about pivoting.
Yeah. So with the pivoting, I forget, like the first few weeks were more like getting everything set because we didn't know it was going to be past 2 weeks until like a week later, we knew it was going to be long. So
Wow.
from there, we essentially went right into accountability coaching. So we had predicted that we couldn't sustain anything group. There's no way that we could replicate the group class experience digitally. And for anyone who thinks that you can do it effectively, that's bullshit. You're a liar. And if you said that you did it successfully, your standard of coaching is probably not very good. You
Yeah.
cannot sustain a high standard of coaching in a large group atmosphere. You can't do it. Small group, maybe.
Unless you're Peloton, and then you're not really getting
But
any
that's not
coaching.
coaching. That's instructing.
Yeah.
There's a
Yes.
difference. There's a
Yeah.
difference. So,
Say
so
more about that.
what?
Say more about that. The difference between coaching and instructing. I like that.
Yeah. So that's a constant theme that I go over with my coaches all the time. Instructors are people who literally just do what that is, and that is instructing. They tell you what to do. Maybe they're there for motivation. I call it being a fucking cheerleader. But
Yep.
they're instructors, like Orange Theory, F45, Barry's Boot Camps. Those are instructors. They're not coaches. Even though now it drives me a little bit crazy that some of them refer to their instructors as coaches. No, you have to coach to be a coach. And if you don't, like think about what a high school coach does. They organize, they educate, they fix, they correct, they help you goal set. That's what a coach does. They essentially mentor you so you can be your best, not instruct you. They mentor you. They help develop you. I don't think a soul cycle instructor does that.
Yeah.
They're there to make you feel good, which is awesome. I mean, I love their model. It works out great. But don't call yourself a coach. That's my only thing,
Okay, so we go, all right, we need to double down on what our strength is, and that's accountability. How does that how are you executing that?
Yeah. So in terms of executing how we did the accountability, we took our whole membership. Well, the first thing we did, I'll actually go back, is which was unpopular at the time, was we didn't go into an automatic freeze. Most gyms did the automatic freeze. Like they put all the memberships on hold. I mean, I don't know why you would do that, because that's your only source of fucking income.
Yeah.
So it's
And
like,
I think it's also like these people still want a service. Like just because they're not at your gym doesn't mean that says like you can also offer a service to them, at least give them the option. Like, this is what we're going to do. If you don't want to do that, then we can maybe put you on a freeze. Is that more of your mentality?
yes. And that's exactly what we did. So instead of going, everyone's on freeze, if you want this service, buy in, we did it in the reverse.
You're in.
And we were really upfront about it. I'm a really transparent and pretty like blunt person, which sometimes that doesn't, like, it's funny. Like, I've always been this way. I've never really gotten pushback in my whole life about how I am, especially as an owner. 2020 alone is like, why is he acting like now all of a sudden, like, people are like, what? Like, it's like, dude, I've been like this the whole time. So, like, it gets met with like a little bit of resistance, but it's like, dude, just put it on hold then if you don't like it, like, I don't have a problem.
Nothing personal.
Yeah. And it's like, but I always like remind people that, if 60% of our membership goes on hold, like, I'm still paying rent. I still have expenses. And my coach is like, they're depending on me and the company to get paid. I don't know what the government landscape looks like, and I'm not going to depend on it, because as a leader, that's not what you do, man. I'm never going to fire my staff and just say, hey, things are tough, go deal with it, like some of the other leaders in our industry. So my goal was to keep them employed. And that's really what I communicated out to my community, was like, hey guys, I got to keep everyone employed. We got to keep this thing going. So we're going to do it this way. This is what the accountability coaching looks like, which, going back to that, we divided our membership up into groups, and each coach was responsible for delivering program design, nutrition, lifestyle, and those other type of coaching services to their group. So we use the Group Me app. Have you ever used it? Ever heard of it? Yeah. So we had each coach had their own Group Me list, because what we found was that email was way too
Yep. It
email
gets
was
caught.
too hard. It was
Yeah.
weird,
Yeah.
and it wasn't personal. It was
It's actually fairly archaic when it comes to immediate communication with people in that sense.
yeah. And then we liked Group Me because there's something about giving your personal phone number that I don't like. I told my coaches, don't give your personal phone number out to
Yes.
your coaches or out to your clients. Don't do it,
Yeah.
because then they end up like texting you at fucking 8:30 at night about the WOD. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
I got a family, man. We
Yeah.
gotta do
No,
it.
and you know what though? There has to be boundaries, right? So
There has to be,
I
yeah.
think I completely, and we did, so obviously we used True Coach, and then everybody messaged through True Coach in terms of
Yeah.
the
True
execution.
Coach is awesome. I love True Coach.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit afterward in terms of the big sale that they just had of the business. But
Whoa.
so now,
I don't know about that.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be for
Yeah,
after
tell me about it later.
podcast discussion. So you're captaining the ship. You go, this is what we're gonna do. What's the messaging to the membership, and how did they receive it? Like, what kind of, let's look at the numbers. What did we end up at?
I mean, over how do they receive it? At first, it was met with resistance, because there's uncertainty. Everyone is panicked. Everyone is stressed. So a lot of their reactions, I don't really, in hindsight, and I think a lot of them would probably agree to this as well. A lot of the reactions to what we were doing and a lot of the resistance, they were emotional. It was a really stressful time. And they were listening to what their friends at other gyms were doing and wondering why we weren't doing it. Like I had, us push back on why we weren't doing Zoom. And I was like, I'm not doing Zoom because Zoom is going to fail. And you know what happened? Zoom CrossFit classes failed inside of 2 weeks. Bunch of data to support that from other gyms.
Yep.
In terms of getting people mentally healthy, helping them physically, helping them on things that they didn't know they needed help with, like nutrition, sleep, hydration. I mean, we had a lot of really good wins, an enormous amount of wins. And from there, we actually started to realize that we saw the writing on the wall. And this is something that we had known for a while, but we never had the balls to really pull the trigger on it, was to pivot more to individual style training anyways. We always we love individual design. And beyond design, we love the nutrition, the lifestyle coaching. So this kind of forced us to like be better communicators and to really get a hold of that stuff. So the clients that bought in, they loved it, and they continue currently to work with us exclusively one-on-one.
Nice.
So had we done it reverse, we wouldn't have seen the same success. So we kind of had to force them, like, hey, try this, hey, try this, hey, try this. I don't want to. Oh, this isn't so bad. I actually like this. So we saw a lot of that. Yeah. I mean, but overall, there were just people who just who saw the gym as just a clubhouse, which is fine and dandy. But it exposed, like, that was a huge flaw to the CrossFit affiliate model, and a flaw to the business in general, is that if you have a lot of people who only view your business as the place that they work out in, that all you provide is a place to sweat, that's a problem. At least for me, I saw that as a problem. I go, man, I felt like a piece of meat.
Yeah,
like,
real.
Like, damn, like, you only look at my place as a place that you can go in and just work out.
It's the closest to my house. That's why.
Yeah. Which is fine and dandy for other businesses, but inside it, like, I pour like my fucking heart and soul into doing the right thing for people. Because to me, like, of course I want to be financially successful, and it's a really important thing, but I can't sell like my pride for it. I can't. It's just not in me to do that, man. I just, I want both.
Oh, for sure. Interesting enough, like, did you come up with these ideas on your own, or did you have other people you were talking to, mentors, anything like that?
No, Just, I mean, so that's a funny question, right? It's like, was there any one particular person or conversation? Like, not that I could remember, but to say that I made up, I mean, I don't make up anything of my own, right? Everything is influenced by other things. The conversation that we're having now may spark a behavior or an action that I do later on. So it's like, yeah, man, all these life interactions and all my experiences and all the people I've ever interacted with contribute to this evolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
yeah.
So did you guys ever get like an open back up?
What do you mean?
So you got locked down.
Yeah.
Have you guys been open at all?
Oh yeah. No, we've
Okay.
been
All
open
right. So
since.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's what I was referring to. So when did you guys get the okay to open back up?
Yeah. So something that you'll find about me is I'm a very scrappy individual, and I will bend. I will bend rules. And I'll find loopholes, and I'll do whatever I can. I'm a hustler, a grinder, survival to the fucking T.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people will do that better than me because I love calculated risk, which I just got introduced to the stock market. So I'm like fucking obsessed with it.
Me too.
But,
More for a conversation after.
yeah, but we found a little loophole to operate as an exercise physiology facility. I have my bachelor's degree in health education, master's degree in kinesiology. I went and took. I'll save how you get certified as an exercise physiologist, but I went, got an exercise physiology cert, cram studied, got it in a week.
Whew.
Yep. Got it.
For you.
Yeah, got it in a week. Called both my towns, told them what I was doing. I said, hey, under the job code, whatever it was, it says I can operate as an exercise physiology facility. Where you guys know us Northeast CrossFit. We reopened as Northeast Health and Performance. This is what we do. This is how we do it. Here's all the paperwork. Emailed it to them. They were like, all right. We're really cool. Both of my towns, I mean, I know towns can be like a pain in the butt. Both of my towns, like, they wanted to help us. They knew that we were struggling and they wanted to help us. I mean, I was quite aware that like the health department could still shut us down because it was kind of like a gray and shady loophole nonetheless. So yeah, we were able to open up about a month earlier than everyone else. Wow. We did everything more individualized. We spaced everyone out 10 feet. We didn't have a mask mandate at that time, so we obviously didn't enforce it. But we knew right away that ventilation and spacing everyone out was the key. And luckily, it was still summertime, nice in New York. So most people opted to work out outside anyways. We had a whole outdoor setup.
Wow.
So we were good, man. We had things really good. We've been officially open as a gym since like August or whatever. It's cold now, so people are forced to stay inside. We had about a 40% overall loss in membership. Slowly growing back. We changed our operations completely to reflect the current climate. Again, met with some resistance, but I go back to my mission, values, and my vision, and had to rip the Band-Aid. Some people don't want to come back, and that's fine.
That is super impressive.
It's
man.
Scary.
Like that. That's that you're. I feel you're gonna look on that back on that when you're like 10 years old, or like when your kids are a little grown up. Like, yo, in 2020, you're complaining about your little whatever. You don't have any idea what I had to do to hustle to kind of create this. So my question now becomes, and I see this in the complete fitness landscape, is it's the survival of the fittest in a lot of ways, and the big and non-pivotable and non-malleable die, right? If you had a Planet Fitness, LA Fitness, Equinox, I've talked to some of these guys, they're done. Like it's or at very least their market's going to be dropped off completely. And it seems like the boutique, the CrossFit, if they could make it through this time, they really are going to have a beautiful setup to skyrocket after that. What do you see as the areas where you had to let go, and what areas are you like now doubling down on?
Well, I think and this is going to be different from region to region, right?
For sure.
It's
Yes,
really
absolutely.
how your region views COVID is going to determine how you pivot moving forward.
Yes.
Westchester, I live in Westchester, New York. It's a suburb of New York City. So all the New York City people moving up here, it's funny.
That's a very good observation.
Most of New York is red. So I went and actually looked at where all the votes were going. Like literally all of New York is red, except for pretty much like Rockland County, and down is blue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in our area, very blue. So people take COVID very seriously, as they should.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of like being overly cautious and stuff like that, like, and really like the PTSD of COVID is going to stay in New York for a while. So I think the group class model, as we know it, is going to take a long time to recover. So
okay.
my Eastchester gym, my first location, my primary location, we'd have regularly classes of 20, and it was comfortable. We had about 4,800 square feet. But obviously, inside there's movement. There's movement. People are high-fiving and sweating on each other, breathing on each other.
Yeah.
We cannot have that now.
Yep.
We can't have it now. It's not going to happen. People don't feel comfortable with it. And, and the volume isn't there anymore. Something that we realize is that people in New York are slower to go back to the gym than they are in other places because Cuomo demonized gyms, saying that they were dirty and super spreaders, which he then later on, after getting sued for lying, went back and was like, no, they're not. And here's the data to prove it, because there's a lot of data proving it. But by then it's like the damage is already done. That's like if someone cries rape and then they turn around and they're like, all right, it wasn't a rape. I'm sorry. I just want to get that person in trouble. Dude, the damage is done.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those situations, like the damage is done. People already heard it the first time the gyms were bad. They're going to wait for the vaccine, wait 6 months after the vaccine to make sure that people aren't turning into mutants and that it works. And I think then that's when we'll start seeing people come back. But right now, we're not seeing it. It's not going to happen. And, even with all the safety precautions, like we have fantastic ventilation, really good sanitary practices, mask mandate. There's a 6-foot rule. We have it at 10. We bought extra rigs, so each person shares 0 equipment. They have their own pull-up bar, squat rack, rower, air bike, skier, weights, bars, everything. They don't have to move from their area, and they're 10 feet away from the next person. So we're able to deliver CrossFit exactly how they knew it before. But since we know it's going to be small, we had to increase our prices quite a bit. We changed around some more structural things, like we offer more programs to keep it more individualized. And our main offering is no longer the group session model.
Wow.
It's not anymore. Our main offering and our most popular membership is what we call custom coaching, which is our individual design. And that is what's selling, because we noticed during the pandemic that our clients that did individual design and converted to individual design saw more success than everyone else who didn't. And we had we had 1 person drop their membership who had an individual design.
Wow.
And that's powerful.
So how do you portray and get across that amount of tailored coaching? How do you get that across to new individuals? Because a lot of people, obviously, CrossFit's in the zeitgeist, so they're obviously anticipating something when they come in. How do you pivot their mentality and show them what you got, and not only show them what you got, but why it's better and why you're charging the prices that you're charging?
Well, it comes down to people are coming to you to solve a problem, right? Whether that be they want to lose weight, they want to get fitter, or whatever it is, some sort of it's all about redirecting the conversation correctly. So if someone's like, I don't know, I just want to work out. Why do you want to work out? I want to get fitter. What does fitter mean to you? Right? Because how we define fitness is not how everyone else does. So you keep asking questions to peel back the layers to find out what they really want. What is it that you really want? So our intake process is a screening process to find out, one, if you're the right fit, and two, how can we help you? How can we best serve you? With people that come in that want to do CrossFit, these are normally people who already have CrossFit experience. They already have done CrossFit at another CrossFit gym, and for whatever reason, they land at your gym, whether they heard you were great or whatever. If they're really insistent on doing CrossFit, we just let it be. Okay, cool. We talk, they bite, they don't. But for new people, I mean, the individual design has been like fantastic, because how we explain it is, someone wants weight loss. We explain to them, okay, for weight loss, this is the best way to do it, is to get a coach to handle your nutrition, your sleep, and hold you accountable for working out. How does that sound to you? They're like, it sounds great. That sounds like what I would need. Sweet. The way that we would do that is through, if you want all the coach's attention and you really want that like private one-on-one experience, the best is gonna be personal training. This is what the price looks like. You can kind of like gauge if that sounds like something they would do or not.
Yes.
And you're like, hey, like a more cost-effective option is our custom coaching route, and this is what it looks like. We communicate through True Coach. You'll have a consult with your coach to talk about all of your goals, and your coach will come up with a game plan for how you're going to hit your goals and all this other stuff. Yep. But we do start that off with personal training, because if you're going to be working out with us and your coach may not be present all the time, we're going to start off with 5 personal training sessions, so we get a good idea of how you're moving. And then after that, you could come in during these times, do your individual design work. If your coach isn't there, video and get your feedback, but your coach is going to be talking to you nearly every day through True Coach. Usually they're sold on that. I mean, who fucking doesn't want that, right? Like, why would you do a group class? Yeah. Seriously, like, why would you do it? But some people are like, no, I just want to do the group. And we're like, okay, cool. We recently just changed our process to put them on True Coach anyways. So this is like a conversation, a meeting my GM and I had on Monday, where we changed our process a little bit, our intake process. So when they come in, we get them on True Coach anyways, and we individualize the class experience for them. Because what we notice is that people's like, if they go into the group, even after PT, the first 3 months of nurturing is really hard. The 3 most important months in someone's determination if they're going to stay at your gym long-term or not. Yes. So we actually use True Coach as a way to hold them more accountable, hold their hand a little bit if they need it or want it, showcase how we can like show value, see if they want to upgrade to custom coaching anyways. And if they don't, like, at the minimum, it give them a really good first month with us where they don't feel lost. They know that our coaches are there for them every step of the way.
I mean, Manny, you got, it sounds like you got a good head on your shoulders. It sounds like you've got an unbelievable process, but it also sounds like you have some unbelievable people around you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
My team is fucking awesome. I got a great team, man. I don't even know like the count of how many are like considered like technically full-time, but I have like 9 that are solely, their only job is Northeast CrossFit. Their only job. So, wow. Some are part-time, some are full-time, but their only job is Northeast CrossFit. And, we do a really good job of developing their careers, having them have buy-in to the company, the vision, the mission, the values. And a lot of that starts with me, like I'm the first guy to sacrifice anytime there needs to be sacrifice. I try to lead from the front as much as I can. And I think through me being really transparent with them and sacrificing first and them seeing it firsthand, that it develops a lot of trust. And they put a lot of trust in me. And I'm able to put a lot of trust in them. And, I take their career goals very seriously because at least one of my main jobs is not my clients. They're like almost one of the last things I worry about.
Yeah.
But my coaches and their development and their fulfillment, probably the most important thing to me. So if I can keep them happy and fulfilled, then the delivery part, it all kind of takes care of itself. It's like a really beautiful ecosystem. So
Love that.
put all
Love
my
that.
focus into them. And as a as a client who was upset with me, went on Reddit to complain about me, said, it's a really funny insult. The coaches are great. For the coach and all his flaws, he's really good at hiring people. I mean,
you know, I
yeah.
will give you one. Will give you one piece of constructive advice here. The things that they hate you for now, they will love you for later. Most people who actually put their head on straight. But I have one last question before I let you go here, Manny, and that is this: it is coming up onto 1 year almost. We're 10 months away from when this whole thing went down. Now, I imagine that you are a very self-reflective person. You're constantly checking in. You have people that you talk to and that kind of stuff. But if you were able to go back and give yourself one piece of advice on March 15, 2020, what would that be?
Man, so that's a tough question. And I'll explain why. So a lot of my responses, if you don't know, it's that they're very like, they kind of go
Nuance,
in
baby.
different directions.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm trying to pin you down, but you won't let me.
no,
Maybe it's the wrestler in you.
Yeah. It's one of those things where even through your mistakes, if you don't make them, then you don't learn and you don't grow. So my mistakes need to happen. They absolutely need to happen. And I want them to happen. I will never become my best self if all I get is success. And it's truthfully kind of fucking boring, right? Yeah. So I need to mess up in order to become better. But if I were to have done anything different, it would be probably to have made my execution and my communication in the beginning a little bit more precise and a little bit more clear, because I think some of it was like the language was a little panicky, and it was like, in a way, I felt like I was almost like pleading with my community to stay on board, which then gave them the sense that they were doing me a favor and participating in charity for participating in the services they were receiving during it. When in fact, the services that they were receiving took way more skill, way more time, way more effort than fucking coaching the class.
Trust me, I was on the end of that same thing there, Manny, and I appreciate the fact that, dude, it was a hard go as we reopened and it got shut down and that kind of stuff. So what you said there, that resonates with me immensely. But I know that you're a busy man, and I really appreciate you carving out some time for me. Before we go, do you have anything that you'd like to promote or get out to some of the audience that are listening here?
Yeah, actually, we had talked about this on Facebook. I think it was about something about success. And that theme has been floating in my brain for about 2 weeks, where I've thought about it like very deeply about what it means, how to define it. I mean, I've thought about this for a lot. And recently, for a gift, one of our clients, one of my good friends, my wife's good friend, who's also a client, got me a book for Christmas, Outliers. Don't know if you've read it. Very popular book. Oh, speaks to me. But what it really got me to realize is that when people ask me like, oh, like you're successful and what does it take? And then when you listen to all of these like influencers and people telling you how to be successful, you get all wrapped up into like this bullshit. Is really what it is. It's not real. There's not one recipe that makes you successful. Your recipe for success is different than mine. So really, what is success? It's fucking luck, really. When you start peeling it all back, it's luck. Everything is opportunity and hard work. Relentless hard work. Way more hard work than most people think. You need just a little bit of talent, a fuckload of opportunity, and even more work ethic. But you only get opportunity, really. A lot of your opportunity starts with luck. So if you were someone born into a really crappy situation, you have less opportunity than you or me. Born into better situations. My daughters are born into really good situations. Nothing but fucking opportunity for them. Yeah. So if they're not successful, they fucked up. So I define success as where you were raised. If you get above that, you're successful. You know, if you were an immigrant born with nothing and you come to the US and you become anything, yo, you're successful, man. You done made it. You know, if you were born with everything and you can't make nothing of yourself, or you achieve the same status you were born into, sorry, you had everything handed to you. Easy. You're not successful. Seriously, you're not successful if it was all handed to you. Even though on paper to some people, if you were born into like a lineage of doctors and you become a doctor, I'm sure it's hard work no matter what, but like you didn't elevate your status. That shit was, every opportunity was given to you. The best schools, the best everything was given to you. Opportunity. So it's luck. So people don't like to hear that. People like to think that it's self-made and it's all this shit. It's not true, man. It's luck, a lot of luck, a lot of opportunity. And there's nothing wrong with that. You shouldn't be ashamed of it. But you know, it's opportunity. And if you're stuck in a place that doesn't have opportunity, we got to reset your brain. We have to reset your perspective, because even though it looks like there's no opportunity, there's opportunity everywhere. At least if you live in the US, it's everywhere, and we just have to open up our eyes and change, just fix our mindsets a bit, and read some good books and get off of YouTube and Facebook and social media and just get down to it. So I really have to cut that out.
and be around more people like you, Manny. Manny, I really appreciate your time. Best of luck coming in 2021 here. I know that all the hard work that you put in thus far is just going to catapult you and your business and your family to things you never even would have imagined. I appreciate your time, brother. Well,
thank you so much, Sean. And we'll talk later, but you'll probably be seeing me in Florida soon.
I love it, man. I'll take you to all the best beaches. All right, Manny.
Thank you, brother.
Take care, dude.
You too.
Thank you so much again, Manny, for coming on today. If you live in the Westchester area and are looking for world-class coaching, head on down to one of his amazing facilities. Thank you again for listening. And if you like what you heard, please subscribe, rate, review, share with your friends, and see you next time with a brand new episode of the Fitness, Wellness, and Longevity Podcast. Have an awesome day.